I tested both of my town's libraries, the little one and the big one, to see which one would be my escape spot, and after a few outings, the choice became pretty obvious. But before I get into detail about how I came to that conclusion and why I'm only sticking with the one that I chose, be sure to give this video a like, comment your thoughts along the way about all this, whether you've been to your local library recently or what you think about your local library. Be sure to also subscribe for cultural commentary and rants from a man caught between generations, and feel free to join me at the Zillennial Nexus Point Discord. Link will be in the description below. So yeah, this all goes back to my home environment of needing somewhere to escape my mom's cleaning frenzies or work noise when she's working from home, that is. Libraries made sense because they were free, mostly quiet, and a place you can both work and relax. So basically, as long as you're not being disruptive, you can do pretty much whatever you want at the library. Okay, maybe not anything, but you know what I mean. So, after signing up for my card the previous week, I took my MacBook out of the house for the first time ever in almost 3.5 years since I bought it. I also brought my Switch 2 with me, but that was only 3 months after buying it. Well, after it arrived. And that was only after I had finally gotten a case for it, where earlier on that day I'd gone to a GameStop I could find and traded in my amiibo collection because I realized the amiibos weren't doing anything for me, whereas a Switch 2 case would be very useful. And I literally put it to use right away by taking it to the library. So on that first session at the little library where I set up my MacBook and my Switch 2, I realized it wasn't going to be perfect when there were noisy kids, just like at a theater showing a kids' movie. Granted, I did set up my MacBook at a table near the kids' books and not in the quiet study area that they had, which I eventually migrated to after it became too much for me. Because when editing, yes, even with active noise cancellation, the sound of people talking slips through every now and then. I'm starting to wonder if it should just be a writing and gaming place because I went back there today as I record this and I had similar issues with editing video. But hey, it's still a good place to write stuff and play video games. Maybe I should actually read a book there. Well, that's an option, but really the library should be more about being a community center if you will for people who I guess need a third place. The quiet study area was great. It was an improvement. Still wasn't perfect, especially because there are only two tables and they were both occupied. But there was an armchair where I could do my thing, editing my video. So there's that. My only real complaint is the water fountain's bottle filler had a weak stream and kept on turning off. It only worked intermittently. I need to tell someone that that needs to be fixed. But overall, when all was said and done, the little library is easier to access than the big library, and I'll get more on that in a second. It's calmer once I'm in the right room. Basically, stay away from the children's books, and it's open on Sundays, the day that I would prefer to do the library thing over the weekend rather than Saturday, which is now my go out to Boston, see at least one movie for the official Saturday movie at an AMC out there, because I have A-list now. We'll talk more about that in a separate video. But anyway, on Thursday of last week, I decided to go to the big library to see what that was like. First of all, it is a much further walk from home, That's all I'm going to say about that. But the worst part is, when I got there, the streets were insanely narrow. They were actually one-way streets. Actually, the library itself is on a one-way street, and there is barely any room on the sidewalk, and I really am not comfortable being so close to a line of cars like that. But hey, once I managed to get to the big library, I noticed they had a much larger selection of movies and DVDs compared to the little library. They even still had pretty recent releases, like Thunderbolts is available to borrow from there. Captain America 4 is the one that stood out to me because I skipped that in the theater and I still haven't seen it. And from what I've heard, it sounds like borrowing it from the library is the only good way to justify spending the time watching it because my tax dollars are going to pay for the library acquiring that DVD no matter what. Editing there was fine overall, but there was still some background chatter, and this was from both kids and adults, by the way. Anyway, after I finished the video I was there to edit, I played some Mario Kart World. Other thing I will say about the big library that was better than the little one, they had a actually functioning water dispenser. But again, the sidewalk layout was a complete nightmare for me, to the point I really don't want to go back there because of how difficult it is to walk there with the sidewalk layout. Ultimately, the library has its perks with more of a actual movie selection, or a wider selection at the very least, and with more of the recent ones compared to whatever the little library happens to have. I think the most recent movie I saw available there was Anyone But You, which came out about almost 2 years ago now. But again, actually getting to the big library is too painful for me personally with the sidewalk layout. The little library wins because it's closer, it's open on Sundays when I actually need it, whereas it's closed on Saturdays, and the big one is open on Saturdays, but they have a bunch of events there, which would just be even more distracting. The little library is easier to walk to and access, and I can get in a rhythm with work or games before closing. So anyway, after that, and going back this morning, I'm recording this on Sunday, I've decided that my new weekend routine is going to be going to Boston on Saturday for the official Saturday movie at an AMC, and maybe another movie, or the option to do pretty much anything else I want. Like if I want to go to a Music Under the Dome show at the Museum of Science, I have the option to do that. I would not have the option to do that if I went to the museum from open to close. Then I was like, okay, I gotta get home so I can watch the Saturday movie. No, the day is clear after I see my official Saturday movie. I'll throw the charter up here, and we're gonna talk more about that in a separate video. But anyway, the point is, on Sunday, even though I could use the commuter rail weekend pass to go back to the city on Sunday and either see more movies with A-list, though I think I'd rather make sure I have more Saturdays booked in advance, or I could just walk around the Boston Common. It's about to start getting colder out, so that's not going to be a viable option. Honestly, I think it's best to just go to the little library till they close, which is an hour before my mom leaves for bingo. So yeah, this way, each weekend day has its own place, and I'm not stuck at home having to deal with my mom's psychotic cleaning frenzy. I'm gonna wrap it up here for the video because the point I'm trying to make is that the test proved something larger, that sometimes The better option on paper, that being the big library, isn't the one that actually works for my life. You let me know in the comments down below what you think about all this. Be sure to also give this video a like if you enjoy it. Subscribe for cultural commentary and rants from a man caught between generations. And feel free to join me at the Zillennial Nexus Point Discord. Link will be in the description below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.